Welcome to the PRFFP. Do you say double FP or
I
FFP?
said I said double FP.
Okay. Welcome to the PRFFP, the podcast showcasing the films and the directors of the Party Room Film Festival. I'm your host, Andrew King, the seventh podcast host of Party Room verse out of 13 possible hosts. This week's guest is a fan favorite. He directed a bad film, a great film, a weird film, a film, and now Paul's nephew's favorite film, The Unstoppable Force. Ladies and gentlemen, Jacob McGlown.
I want to do the little puzzle connecting which one was a film, the bad one. I
It's
can't
in
wait to do that.
it's in order. So he directed a bad film,
Okay. Bullseye.
right? Bullseye. A great film,
Okay. Meaningless.
Meaningless, McGlone Fever Dream. A weird film,
Yeah, absolutely.
How
How
Not,
not to find food
right? A film
is, yeah, I
is
agree.
Rex. I really had no. It took me a while to come up with what that would be, and I was like, I think a film just kind of sums it up.
I
And then,
agree.
yeah, and then Paul's nephew's favorite film, Unstoppable Force.
And I mean, really, that's what we're all competing for, right?
That is the key demographic of Party Room. We're looking to entertain young boys between the ages of, I want to say, 3 and 6, question mark.
Sure.
Let us know in the comments how old you think Paul's nephews are. Or don't. Unless your name is Paul, then you could. And even if your name is Paul, maybe don't for security reasons.
Out of context, this is you're spiraling, man. You are spiraling, dude.
I'm just trying to make my mark as the, in a festival full of podcast hosts. I'm just trying to chart my own course.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jacob, right? It brings me no joy to say this, but talking about this year, right? You directed The Unstoppable Force, and the part that brings me no joy is you did come up with the concept for Party Room Civil War. So is there any background on how you came up with that concept?
Really, it just came down to there being a tie at Party Room 4. I'm pretty sure it's documented at this point, but it was Levi versus Paul. That were tied, and I just thought, you know what, we should let that divide all of us together, and we should just, do a civil war about it. Let them be the captains.
You know what, though? I will actually challenge that a bit, because I believe you pitched it to us before Party Room 4, because I think I was in a car with Trevor, Paul, and Levi driving to Party Room 4, and we were talking about how we come up with the themes. And I think by that point, I had shared that theme with them. I might be misremembering. And I don't mean to...
And then whenever the tie happened, I was like, well, now you have to do it.
Now you have to. Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
But regardless, brilliant idea. Was it more like Avengers based, or the politician in me wants to know, was it more like election 2024 based?
Let me tell you how much I pay attention to elections, and I didn't know that it was an election year whenever I pitched
Yikes.
But I mean, I don't think it was Avengers either. I think it was just like, we talk about sometimes like, what would it be like to, instead of going against each other, what if we teamed up with each other and it was like a 2-on-2? Well, what if it was more of, what if we all had a team and went against each other, I think.
So I do know when we discussed it, when you pitched the idea, and you and I even like did a mock draft at one point on who it would be. Like, you and I did one, just if we were team captains, who we would do. I forget exactly the results of that. But what were your thoughts on Matt and Sam being chosen as team leads? And then to further go with that, I see you're wearing your Party Room hockey jersey. What was it like being on Team Red, and were you happy with that team?
If I would have chosen, it would have been Paul and Levi as team captains. But I do think with the competitiveness of Matt Stice and Samuel Maddox, I think they were really good choices for it. I was really interested in it's been really fun to talk to both team captains about their strategies with picking them, because Sam just got all of the council members on accident, basically, and that's really crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
and Matt got all of the Golden Dewey winners on accident, which
Yeah.
is just, it's crazy that there wasn't actual strategy with that. They were just kind of going with, I think he'll be good. I think he'll be good. But in the end, like with the draft, I think it was still pretty fair. And then the experience on the red team was, the red chat was pretty
lived up to
we,
its name of dead.
yeah, it was fine. I mean, I really enjoyed who I was on the team with, and Matt did help me out a lot,
Mm-hmm.
so I got a lot of help from my team captain, so I don't have any complaints about him. Maybe I
Excellent.
wish he would have represented better and got his film in on time, but
Oof. Ouch. This isn't a question I'm thinking of until now, but what did you think of your matchup draw versus Trevor?
I kind of figured that we would be like the heavyweight bout of the night, if I'm being
Mm-hmm.
honest,
Yeah.
because you have two, it's the two non-film people going against each other.
It's a well-designed matchup on Sam and Matt's part.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's the oldest nerd versus the youngest nerd. It is,
Mm.
it's, I don't know. It was just, it's possibly the two weirdest directors as well.
Some might say that.
/ most chaotic. I don't know. But,
Mm-hmm.
I messaged Trevor saying, like, one of us has to take home the Area 50 Love Award. If it doesn't go to our category, then we both failed. But, I was definitely nervous because you never know what that guy's going to do.
Yeah, I mean, he truly, I think with your films, there's at least like an air of quality to them, right? Like there's where like
Yeah.
with Trevor, I mean, total wild card, right? Like you just like truly don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
We can kind of run through this sort of rapid fire, but generally speaking, what was your thoughts on the prop, Snow Globe?
Prop, no real opinions on it.
Mm-hmm.
The only tidbit of significance I have for you is that I submitted a potion as my prop, and the way that Josiah presented it in the rules video, I thought it was a potion too. So I thought it was 2 for 2, but Snow Globe's kind of just, it was a fine prop. I wasn't like, that sucks. I wasn't like, that's great. I didn't have an idea, so it wasn't very, it didn't hurt me, it didn't help me. It was just kind of there.
And as the interviewer, I should know this, but I'm actually off the top of my head, I don't remember how you use the snow globe in your film. Can you remind me?
So I did a throwaway, much like everyone else did. Whenever Paul comes in and turns the TV on, there is an ad for Josiah shaking a snow globe.
Oh, of course. Yep, that's right. And then the the elephant in the room, shall we say, the line. What was it turns out that if you submit crappy lines every year, eventually you might get chosen.
So I do have like a little bit of a story with the lines. Like, I think I submitted like 5 lines to you at the thing, and I kept like switching them. And I think the first line I submitted was "Make the podcast great again." And whenever I did a new set, you were like, "Why did you change the line? It's great." But I mean, no, I definitely was like, this won't get chosen. It's probably fine. And lo and behold, we did it. I've gotten my prop chosen for year 1 with the mousetrap, and now I have had my line chosen. So statistically, I can submit anything I want now, and it won't get chosen.
Do you have any tips on, for people like me who have not had a prop or a line chosen, do you have any tips on how to get selected?
I don't actually know. I don't think we've ever covered this in the council episodes. How do y'all choose them? Just out of a hat, or?
Yeah, we put okay, so 4 out of 5 years we put all the names in a hat, and then we go, okay, this name I'm drawing out, we're choosing their prop. It's whoever submitted the snow globe, I forget, right? It's them. And then the next name I'm picking out is for the line. It's Jacob. With the exception of that one year where you all were complaining about democracy, and so we had everyone vote, and then we took the top 3 favorite voted lines and the top and the bottom 3 voted.
I forgot about this.
And then we put all of those in a hat, and then we drew them out until there was one remaining, and then that's the one we picked.
I forgot about this.
Yeah.
We should
For
talk
obvious
about,
reasons. For obvious reasons, we did not continue that practice.
yeah. We should talk about more creative ways of choosing the line and prop. Let's do a marble race or something.
I'm
like
definitely down for that. Put your thoughts in the chat below. Comment below and be sure to like and subscribe.
Dude, you're doing so good. You're getting
Thanks, dude.
The likes. You're doing so good.
I'm pretty confident by the end of this episode, we'll get up to like at least 71 subscribers from 68, I think.
Dude.
We're at 68 or something like that. Anyway, so you had the category or your, I shouldn't say the category, right? Your prompt was unstoppable force. You touched on this a little bit in Trevor's episode, but talk about your and this sort of blends in with the concept. So that's your prompt, right? How do you then come up with the concept of your film?
So, I mean, I ran through a few different ideas, but yeah, for those who haven't listened to Trevor's episode, just go listen to it because it's definitely better than this one. And like and comment on that one too. Just, for there to be a conflict with an unstoppable force, then at some point it needs to be stopped. The only thing that can happen to an unstoppable force is that it stops. And so I figured if it's getting stopped, then I am not fulfilling my prompt. And I recognize that this is more thought than anybody else puts into their category or their prompt. And I needed to not get hung up on it. And I ran through a few ideas, floated a few to some people that they weren't really supported, but eventually I really can't tell you where the idea came from. But I mean, a Gundam controlled by multiple people, whether it's Power Rangers, GoBots, there's a Rick and Morty episode about it. They mention it in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's well-treaded territory. And I figured, well, if the name of their team is Unstoppable Force, then it doesn't matter if they get stopped.
Yeah.
So,
what this is a quick question. What were there any you sort of mentioned like Sunny in Philadelphia, different things talk about Gundam stuff. Was there any specific cartoon or anime or anything that you specifically drew inspiration from, or was it just the genre as a whole?
Kind of just the genre as a whole. Yeah, not just the genre as a whole. We can touch base on this in a little bit, but part of it was also, being on the road for our filming season is 12 weeks long, and I think I was on the road for 10 of those weeks. Part of it was thinking through, well, how can I pawn off all of the filming to other people? So, I'm giving the script to these people, say, go stand in front of a green screen and do this, and then send me the footage. And that was a huge help as well, because I'm not going to be able to go film with all these people. So
that's very, very smart. So you kind of touched on the timeline a bit. So when did you end up getting to Zach's to film?
I want to say that we filmed week 1 of the festival.
Oh,
I really want to say that we filmed week 1 of the festival, that I was going up there with one idea. And like I said, it wasn't really clicking, and some of the people I floated by weren't supportive of it. So I was, kind of had this new idea 2 days before we went up there, and my work had just basically tripled its inventory because of how busy we were for the summer. And so I was I have all this cardboard, I can make a city out of it. And then I guess it kind of spiraled from there. And we're back.
Fair enough. So we're gonna edit that. Cool. Got it. So duh. I remember now. Yeah. Okay. Because you told me, yes, I remember this whole thing now.
Yeah.
Because you told me the idea. That's right. Duh.
And
all right.
That can't make it into the episode.
No, never mind. Cool. Okay. So I want to now talk about your film, right? So actually, no, one more question. So was the only thing you filmed all of the outdoor stuff at Zach's house?
Yes. I mean, in theory, if you want to technically, I guess, whenever I'm working in Blender, I'm working with the camera and I'm recording that. And like that was done in multiple states over multiple days with rendering and stuff. But yeah, the only time that I held a camera, and truth be told, I didn't even do that. Matt Stice was my on-set
So
filmographer.
yeah, so I'll say the only, and I don't mean this in a bad way, like the only time you were on set filming, you were present while filming was taking actual camera filming was taking place was at Zach's place. And I think that's actually very cool because you'd be hard pressed to find a film in the party room era that is more like crowd funded or crowd filmed, I guess, than your film, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and I mean, like, truth be told, whenever we were filming at Zach's place, we kind of like created a skeleton like on the spot of like plot points and like little story beats. But the script was not out yet. I had to figure out what people were saying like 2 weeks after we filmed that, and like after filming, I was going to be the Red Force fighter, but it was like, well, I'm way too busy. I can't do that. We actually planned on. I'm really getting ahead of ourselves, but we'll just do it now. At some point, I wanted to do a remote filming session, and this was when I was still going to be the Red Force fighter, where everyone was going to be in a Zoom call or a Google Meet at the same time. And that way we could respond in time to each other, making it easier to edit because you're playing off me, I'm playing off Zach. But freaking Utah has no service anywhere in that freaking state, so the Wi-Fi was terrible, so it just didn't work out. And since that didn't work out, I really like started like kind of looking in the wings. I was like, who's on deck, who's going to be the next force fighter? And I was like, well, Aaron is probably the next best option. I love him, so Aaron was the Red Force fighter.
Fantastic casting. So yeah, so let's get into the some plot points of the film, and I've got a lot of bullets. So we open on Paul, who is watching a television in a stock photo living room. He is watching the news, and as a fan of the news, can you explain the Make the Podcast Great Again movement? What's their story? What are they protesting? Is it a specific podcast? Is the podcast the friends we made along the way? What motivated them? The other thing too is that it appears that this is taking place in PRFFP, so I would imagine this is not the Washington D.C. Capitol building that is mentioned by Kitty Catterton. So what's kind of give me a lore drop here?
Well, I mean, just obviously this didn't take place in the real world because any podcast that comes out in the real world would have come out on time and it would have always been great. But people just seem to be really grumpy about the podcast not being great anymore, so they wanted to make it great again. If I can be honest with you about the stock footage that we used for that, I wanted to get video footage. And so I spent like a few hours like watching the footage of January 6th, and I was like,
lovely.
This is just sad, and I don't enjoy this. Won't be funny. So.
Well, and if I can, interject here, I remember receiving a text from you during this process where you were like, can you send me footage of January 6th? And I remember responding to you, where do you think I was on January 6th? I was not there, and I don't care who knows it. I was in Kentucky at the time and was nowhere near what happened. And I do want to make that abundantly clear. So I did not have footage, and I believe I told you to go watch the news, which actually brings me to my next point, is to actually talk about the news broadcasters. So specifically, I'm going to kind of rattle off a bunch of questions here, right? So based off of the characters Bon Burgundy and Kitty Catterton, both of these seem to be sports reporters in The Greatest Showman, Showdown, sorry. In The Greatest Showdown, they're sports reporters. Here it seems they've transitioned both to the hard news. Can you explain this process for them? And also, why was the weather reporter not there? Did he get fired, or is he still reporting on weather in sports?
Well, see, the weather reporter was wearing horns and had his face painted, and he was
No,
inside
he
the
was
Capitol.
not. He was not.
No, truth be told, I've never thought of Bon Burgundy and Kitty Catterton as sports reporters. I thought of them more as like just news people and event people in general. Uh, for example, Bon Burgundy is mediating the debates, and I'm a
That's a very
monster.
good point.
So,
It's a very good point.
I have a larger portfolio than is seen. But yeah, no, Kitty Catterton. At some point, it became like, how many nerds can I fit in this film? And I was like, well, again, if I make Sam record it, then it's not going to be me. If I get Melissa to do the voiceover, then it doesn't have to be me. And I can just suffer in the editing bay later.
Lovely. The other thing I wanted to point out about that was the chyron at the bottom, the wording, right? And it actually, you almost snuck it by me, but I did end up pausing it multiple times to read it. So the bug at the bottom reads, "People are not happy about the podcast. They have begun rioting in the streets, shouting, 'Make the podcast great again.'" Then it goes on to say, quote, "Is this box supposed to just tell you what the reporter is telling you, or is it meant to cover other news? I don't feel like this is meant to be used for closed captioning. This won't shock you, but I don't watch the news," in quotes. "Too busy having a life, spelled Y-A. Okay, let's think of other silly news bits and then it cuts off when the city is attacked." Was that... I guess talk to me about your inspiration there. Actually, I don't even really need to know your inspiration. I think it's pretty clear that you don't watch the news.
It's just stream of consciousness.
I'm not even going to make you make up a lore dump for that. It's pretty. I think we kind of get the vibes there. Okay, so obviously, right, the robot attacks PRFF Berg. Actually, side question here: is PRFF Berg like in America? Is it like a Metropolis kind of situation? Is this like another galaxy, multiverse kind of situation? Where are we?
Yeah.
Cool. Next question. Let's talk about this robot. So what was the inspiration behind the robot design? Both practically, actually, okay, so here's I'll rephrase it. Mm-hmm. Which came first, the 3D modeled version or the cardboard version?
So the cardboard version came out first because, like I said, this was a spur of the moment. We kind of filmed it run and gun style. And I really made that cardboard suit within 30 minutes. I know that's shocking to you. I did.
But it looks so well done.
And I mean, like, I just knew that, well, like in these cartoons, like one girl's left arm, and so the only thing I really needed I had different colors of spray paint for each appendage in the head. And then I did grab some tin foil so that I could like have a shiny face mask. That ended up biting me in the butt later on because as we're filming out in the sun, it's baking my face and I have a sunburn because like it's just reflecting all the sun right up at my eyes and cheek.
Sure. Whoops. So the colors, you said it was just spray paint you had. So was there any logic to the colors at all? Like in any way?
RGB as the basis. And then orange and yellow were also in the spray paint aisle.
Lovely.
Close by.
Was there any thought process behind which person was assigned to which color? So like, for instance, like I noticed right away that Matt is green. So is this a Gilbert the Green illusion, or is it like is this Gilbert the Green illusion ALL? Or is it actually him?
Well, Matt always, same as like the Spanish announce table in WWE, same as the Redcoats in Star Trek, when it comes to Party Room, we have certain rules that aren't written down, but they do exist. If Matt is playing a character, he's going to be the green version of that character. You know, it was like, well, obviously Matt's going to be the green guy. I was going to be the red because red's my favorite color. Zach likes blue, so Zach was going to be blue. And then orange and yellow kind of just got handed out. Like I figured Paul would be the head because of, you know, he's my ringer from How Not to Find Food in the Wild. But and then Levi, you know, I just friggin' love Levi, so he was in there too. I hope that doesn't make him feel less loved that I didn't have a reason for his character. But Aaron got stuck with red because he was replacing me.
Cool. And to stay on the colors for a bit, so at the beginning of the film, you refer to everyone as like their color force fighter, right? So Zach is the blue force fighter, the green force fighter, all this stuff. Then in the middle of the film, Aaron becomes a red ranger and Levi is also a yellow ranger. But then eventually Levi becomes the yellow force fighter again. Is there a reason for their name shifts?
Did that actually happen?
Yes.
Oh no.
And I actually watched it multiple times to make sure I wasn't making the mistake. I believe I could be wrong here because while I did rewatch it a couple times, I didn't actually care that much. But Aaron, I think, was only referred to as the Red Ranger by Paul. Oh, Zach was consistently referred to as the Blue Force Fighter. At one point, Paul said, you know, the Force Fighters, right? Like as a whole, I think. And then, yeah, I think Levi actually was a Yellow Force Fighter, and then Paul referred to him as the Yellow Ranger.
Amazing. Well, I mean, look, man, they didn't have a director on set with them, and so you kind of get what you get whenever you outsource all of your filming.
Was it scripted as Force Fighter?
I really hope so. Like, I don't have the script to like look back and be like, no, I told them to say it the right way. They might have just done it the way I told them to. I really don't know.
It's amazing.
I'm incredibly embarrassed that I'd never caught it in editing, and even up to right now, I did not know that.
Now, watching your face as I said that was pretty funny because you were like, no, that's not possible. And again, I like went because I wanted to see who was referred to as a Yellow Ranger. I was trying to see if it was like a left side, right side kind of situation. But it wasn't. I was curious about, obviously Paul is the leader. And Levi seems to kind of be like sort of science officer and Zach is like kind of weapons maybe, but that might be a misread. What was each person's responsibility?
You definitely had that right. Levi was meant to be kind of the nerdy one who gives you the rundown on each of the kaiju. Zach was kind of meant to be a weapons expert. Paul's the leader. I did not have anything for green or red. The actors just, Matt decided that he wanted to talk like Batman and wear sunglasses. And you know what? That works out. That's perfect. And then, Aaron decided, whatever direction he had. And maybe he was trying to be me. I don't know.
Well, they did it great. Whose green screen was the worst?
That feels mean.
No, but I want names.
Okay. I have, all right. Oh man. All right. Fine. We're doing it. We're burning bridges.
I want a name.
I've got a few answers is the issue. The first one was Zach. So whenever I reached out to each of these people, each of my actors, I told them that, like, I'm putting in a cockpit behind you. I need you to film this all in front of a green screen, and I need you to film it in front of a green screen, and then I need you to be, like, typing, pulling levers and stuff, deliver your line, and then continue typing and pulling levers for, like, 10 seconds. That way I would have the buffer time so, like, other people can deliver their lines and all that type of stuff. Zach, the first time he sent me stuff, he was just in his like shed, and like it had a bunch to his credit, he was trying to help. He like had pipes and like all types of wires and stuff behind him, so he was trying to make up a cockpit for me, and I was like, no, I need no. So thankfully he redid it for me. But then the other one that was bad was Levi, because he was in front of a tan wall, and that doesn't really work well with a tan human.
Correct. Well, yeah, you masked it very well. And it wasn't noticeable, but I just know if there's one thing Party Room is known for, it's bad green screen filming. And I was curious there. So this is just a side thing. You hear Unstoppable Force being sung at one point. Was that Levi, I assume?
Yeah, absolutely.
Great work. Can you talk me through, this is a very broad question, but I don't even know the right questions to ask with this. Can you walk me through the 3D mapping that you did with, in two ways? Well, yeah, we'll do it this first way, because there's another question I have later, but the 3D mapping of the pieces of the robot coming together.
Yeah, obviously, we did some 3D animation in this, and basically we just built it all in Blender. Very simple stuff. I thought about adding like gears and like all types of craziness, but the rendering time would have just been insane. So it was like, you know what, a bunch of cubes flying together. That's fine. And I mean, it really is as simple as you just similar to anything you're doing in After Effects. You're basically just it's here, and then you move down and you put a keyframe in and say it's here now, and then it flies in, and you have the camera track with it. The background is also a animation in Blender, that little like anime lines kind of going. I made that, and then I put it on the screen behind the Gundam in Blender, just because I figured that'd be easier than trying to mask it out in After Effects or whatever.
Yep.
And then so in Blender, same as anything, like rendering time is crazy, and I used it's in the actual program. Like, it's not like I used a new renderer. I used the basic renderer, but I used the fancier version of it. And each of those videos, like between cuts, each of those took like 6 hours to render, because I wanted them to have like the shiny metallic chrome that was like reflecting everything. So like I would put my computer up on like cans of soup and stuff, because so that it wouldn't overheat, and I basically just couldn't use my laptop for the next 4 or 5, 6 hours.
Jeez.
Yep.
So 4 or 5 or 6 hours for like 10 seconds, basically.
For
Give
like
me
3 seconds. So the way it works is basically I am telling it to like, all right, for this first frame right here, I want you to, it's called samples. And it's basically, it's going to render and do a better iteration. And you can put a cap at it, like, 50 samples is enough. Whatever you get after your 50th try, move on to the next one. I think I set it to like 2,000 samples per frame. So like I'm saying, like, with just the red arm flying in, that was like 5 hours. And then I would animate the blue arm, and that was 5 hours.
I see.
And like animating it wasn't difficult, like, at all. But the rendering time, because I wanted it to be that super crisp, metallic, fancy sheen, that's what made it take forever.
Got it. Well, I mean, it looks great. A lot of times the simplest moves are the ones that look the best. So it looks very good. This is
like part of that setup, like, obviously, because I couldn't. Part of me thought, like, all right, well, I'll just stand like this. I'll just do a T-pose in the suit, and then I'll just After Effects mask out the arm and fly it in, like, do that. But part of it was I wanted to go really hard for like the first 15 seconds of the film. I wanted to go like, all right, they're all getting the calls. Here's a bunch of anime stripes, and here's the arms flying in to get the phones, and all that type of stuff. And then I wanted there to be like just in the back of your mind while you're watching the film, I wanted you to be like, did he 3D animate a full film? What is happening here? And then I wanted it to be like the budget is gone, and it just fell out, and like the quality drops drastically. Yeah.
Well, you do have, this is one of the things I love about the film is you're mixing media, right? So you've got like real life like Paul sitting in a living room, right? So like just a standard kind of shot. And then you have a bunch of green screen kind of cockpit kind of stuff. This is not necessarily in order. And then you've got like 3D modeling. And then you've got like a dude in a cardboard robot suit fighting an inflatable dinosaur. Like it's the perfect blend of like any form of media you can think of. So
and then the other 3D modeling that I did was obviously the cockpits. That surprisingly took a lot longer, just because each individual button is a circle that I'm having to place and stuff like that. So, yeah.
No, it looks great. So this is more of a lore kind of question, but what exactly is this unstoppable force, right? Is it a governmental agency? Is this like the military industrial complex? Is this an Avengers like type group that sort of just like does the right thing, but they have no like accountability or oversight? Like what is this group?
I want to say, as I pull it out of my butt right now, thinking of it on the spot, I'm
No,
going to say
take your
that
time. I know you put a lot of thought into it. So
I put a lot of thought into other things, man. I want to say that it's like a government thing. That's why Paul says, the mayor's going to hate us for that one. You know, he's getting a call from the mayor. It's not necessarily the bat signal, but because we're in modern times, the mayor is, reaching out to him via the Unstoppable Force app. So,
sure. Gotcha. Cool. And then the more lore questions, right? Please cut that out.
yeah, obviously.
Yeah, I was like, stop it.
Let me check Discord real quick. Do I need to add more stop it's? Probably.
Yeah. Okay, so where do the kaiju come from? How did they assemble? Are they this again? There's a bunch of questions that popped in my head. How did they assemble? Are they friends or allies? Did they like coordinate their attacks, or was it just luck? Like they all decided to attack the city on the same day?
The kaiju each come from like their own respective planes.
As in, yeah, explain planes.
Different like dimensions, basically.
Okay.
Sometimes rifts open, and when you have such a strong creature, they are able to open that rift even further and squeeze through into our dimension. If you watched the film, you would know that it started off with Terekasu attacking, and that's just because right place, right time. He came through a rift and all that. He screamed, and it attracted the rest of the kaiju.
Understood.
As well as shut down the Gundam.
Okay. I didn't realize the scream is what. I was too busy reading your Chiron to watch that far. And then practically, who you have this in the credits, but it's worth just saying here who played each monster.
So in the I really can't remember all the names, so I'm just going to go with what they are. In the T-Rex, it is Zach the whole time. In the Alien is Zach the whole time. Wings, like the pterodactyl, was Maddie, and the shark was both Maddie and Zach.
Okay.
Maddie being my wife.
Yes. Oh, Maddie. Yeah.
But whenever the shark is in the canoe, we let Zach do that just in case it tipped, and because you can drown in those things for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Which actually right now is a really good time to put this out there. A lot of this film would not have been there without Zach. Obviously, we're at his property, but when I showed up, I only had the pterodactyl costume in the trunk. He randomly, like, he had the shark from my wedding where he surprised me. He also had a T-Rex for some reason. He also had an alien. So it then became like, oh, okay, we'll just have a lot of monsters. And that presented its own challenges with like lock-off shots and stuff like that. But, a lot of that, this film is so interesting because of Zach Adam, for sure.
No, it's very well done. What was coordinating the fight scenes like? Was it kind of just like, all right, we're gonna do this, roll camera? Was there any kind of thought to it? Like
there was thought to it, but I mean, like, really, we were coming up with it like on the spot, going like, okay, well, I'm gonna hit you now. Well, first, to be clear, Zach is in an inflatable suit, so all he's hearing is from the fan, and I'm in a cardboard box, so all you're and then you hit me, and then like, it's the communication was awful.
Sure.
But you know, a lot of it was just like, all right, I'm gonna hit you with the left hand, and then you pretend to fall back, and then we'll get the next shot. And we kind of like, we wrote the script there. Like I said, we were doing story beats, and I knew that we would have to like cut into the mech, you know, between each beat. So it was hectic, but a lot of it was good, I think.
No, yeah, I mean, it's very fun. Yeah, nothing more to add. It was very fun. The moment, you know, that sets your film apart for sure is the robot gets immobilized. The unstoppable force is stopped, and then Paul turns to the camera to do the clap-o-meter scene.
Yeah.
Just talk to me. Just talk to me.
Now is a really good time to say that, like, being in the editing bay was so uncomfortable because like, without any sound effects, like, of course that's in particular, but like, you have like Aaron going, whoa, 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 with like, and just witnessing that in a vacuum is so uncomfortable and cringy. And the, I don't know, pride that my actors had to overcome to film what they filmed is incredible.
I think I was going to say real quick, if you were to come up with a slogan for Party Room, I think it would be, you have to overcome your pride.
Yeah.
Because you will be made to look like somebody will make you look like an idiot at some point. And that's okay. We are all doing this together.
Now, obviously, the most uncomfortable thing was Paul looking right at me through the lens. And like, especially because he's like acting so hype and he's like clapping, and like, this guy is in a room alone just yelling at the camera, which that's not true. I think he and Matt filmed together for some reason. I don't know why they were together, but they were. But yeah, no, just super uncomfortable. I knew that I wanted the mech to stop, but I wasn't sure how I would get it to start up again. And so we were eating lunch. We had already filmed like half of it. And we were eating lunch, and I think I had like recently watched Finding Neverland, which is like the creation of not Harry Potter, the creation of Peter Pan. And I was like, well, I don't know. They can clap Tinkerbell back to life. Why can't they clap the engines back to life? And then, you know, the rest is history. And I knew that Paul would have to be that guy. Whenever I called Paul and approached him about this role, I told him, I'm approaching him because, he's my ringer. He was the scientist in How Not to Find Food in the Wild. I was like, I need you to channel that Optimus Prime. The way that Optimus had us ready to fight Decepticons in the theaters. I need you to have people on their feet cheering. And let me tell you, that was the scariest thing about festival night for me, because like, I was so scared that it would just be silent in the room.
Well, I'll interject here, right? I took it upon myself to rank the actually here in my notes the top 10 moments of Party Room Film Festival, and then I only picked 5, so the top 5 moments of Party Room Film Festival. But in order, going backwards, starting with 5. Also, this is personal bias, right? But I think I can argue a lot of it. Top 5 moment number 5 is people not laughing at the end of Pegged. Number 4 is either Mitchell's Undertaker moment, or, as discussed in Trevor's podcast, nobody sees my husband naked but me, right? Either moment, I think you can make an argument for. Number 3 is you don't have the balls to start a family with me, being said for the first time and kind of setting the tone for what Party Room could be. Number 2 moment is Sam reaching out of the aspect ratio in Bargain Batman to grab the CD. Right. I think incredibly iconic moment. 1, if Matt hadn't won the Golden Dew at that point, that seals it. And then top moment, and I'll fight anybody on this. Top moment of Party Room is everyone clapping during Unstoppable Force. I lost it. Legitimately, that's the funniest thing I've seen in Party Room because it's so stupid, but it's so funny. Like you got a group of 30-year-old men to clap along to a fake film to start a robot that is a cardboard box with some some duct work, and so it could fight an inflatable dinosaur. And I believe it was Mitchell who said later, I think he was with him and Holly were in the other room, or in the other in Zach's place with August at that point. And I think Mitchell said later, he was like, when I watched that moment, I knew that room was going nuts. And I can't wait to see the reaction shot. I know I lost it. Just cracked me up. It was brilliant. So truly a top, I think the top, I'm not saying it's like the best film of Party Room, but like the 100% top moment of it. You created a mood with that moment.
I remember crying on the night because I was so I was so happy that it actually played, but it's just so funny that
it was so good. And
I'm starting to like tear up right now because it's so funny that all of them were like just laughing. Like, what are we doing, guys? Like, I was almost disappointed in people for laughing as loud as they did.
Well, here's the thing. We all knew, like, we're all about to collectively look so ridiculous, but no one's not going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Like I will shame whoever didn't clap during that moment because it was just truly iconic, right? You moved an entire room.
I looked over at you whenever you were like, oh, is this what's happening? And you sat up in your seat. You like readjusted and sat up straight, and you were like, here we go.
Dude, I was not going to let Tinkerbell down.
Yeah, Paul, the only like regret I have with that is like the clapometer, like that sequence just took too long because y'all were already screaming at like 1,000,000 decibels and the meter's only at like a quarter of the way. And it was like, you can't go up anymore. Like,
yeah.
So, but it worked.
No, I will say the only negative to your film is it doesn't, like, that moment doesn't hit quite as hard watching it, in an office with a bunch of coworkers. It's a little less enthusiastic, but I'm happy to report that even if you don't clap, the robot still does come back to life, which is good. So don't be afraid to rewatch.
And I mean, that was all that was me trying to play chess, not checkers, when it came to Party Room night. It was like people will remember the big moments and vote for the big moments. So while I was losing rewatchability, I was like, it wasn't intentional. I was like, no, people will get this. I was trying to play the system with it a little bit.
And like, yeah, I mean, you lose like a bit in rewatchability, but like I'm watching it and remembering like, geez, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Just to clap along to make a robot come back to life so it can fight a fake dinosaur.
It was good.
Yeah, the last, this is not nearly as fun of a question, but I was more just kind of curious. So you did, when it comes back to life, they do a quick scan of the kaiju remaining, and there's like a 3D scan of them that are filming. I was more curious how you did that.
Yeah, so that is with a app called Polycam. Basically, you are the same way, I'm basically just scanning them in real life. And some were better than others because of the wind, like flapping the bird's wings, but basically just getting Zach to, stand still for a few minutes while I walk around you with the camera, trying to get the top, the bottom, just trying to get the picture of everything. And then, formatting that and sending it into Blender, where I then kind of cleaned it up a little bit. The original vision for that, I made in Blender, everything is made out of what we call materials. I originally had a hologram material for it. So everything was kind of blue and transparent and stuff like that. It didn't work well in After Effects. Because then we shift it into After Effects because now After Effects can take 3D models into it. I think that's out of beta now. But that's,
it is, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we did in Rex Moriendum. It was the only good thing in Rex Moriendum.
That's not true. But
Thank you. But you know, I was like, well, maybe I can like do that justice. So it didn't really work out. So I just kind of turned down the opacity in After Effects, and it worked out kind of fine.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
ended up rotating it to try and give
Yeah.
it a little bit of a hologram feel.
Not actually, I don't even know if you could do this in a 3D model, but did you try or did you think about trying to Lumetri color grade it in After Effects later? Because you might have been able to add a bit more blue in. It's not a big deal, but I'm more just curious if you could do that.
I'm pretty sure I did, but because there were already like materials in it, like it, I think it like just didn't play well. Like it
Okay.
didn't play nice with it.
Yeah. Cool. That's fine. I mean, this is me getting. I'm more just curious if that's how that works. So, anyway, so you know, couple questions I've got on credit. So in there, you've got it's starring characters from the mind of Josiah Downey. He was not on set that day. So, correct? Was he?
Josiah?
Yeah, was he on set
No.
when you filmed? No. Yeah. So how did he have these characters in his mind?
Bon Burgundy and Kitty Catterton from
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. I was thinking the kaiju, and I was like, I was confused. That, of course, that makes sense.
Yeah, I actually this is all a dream that Josiah had. So
Yeah, I was like, okay. And then quick question: the like when the kaiju come, there's that one song. Is the score that plays? Is that from Star Wars Episode 2?
Man, I could not tell you.
Okay,
it's some Star Wars for sure, but like I don't give a crap about Star
I
Wars.
think it's when Anakin kills the Tusken Raiders, and I should have rewatched the scene. I think that's what it was, but it's been like years since I saw Star Wars Episode 2. So
I always, my little brother is similar to you. Like he listens to movie scores a lot. A lot of the time I was like, you know, just sending him clips of it and being like, all right, here's a big fight. What would happen with the dramatic reveal? And he'll just be like, you know, his brain will just go, episode 4 of Star Wars, this song around him, you know, just, you know,
is this Wesley?
Yeah.
Why is his last name Addertongs?
Because he is a moron. Wesley is not my real little brother, but I do claim him. He was the head pastor's son while I was the youth pastor's son. At one point, he sent me a gift while I was at college, and instead of saying Wesley Addington, he spelled it Tongs because he's an idiot. So
cool, excellent. Yeah, so that's you know, obviously we've gone through the details of the film. Your film, the last kind of question I have for you before I'm going to open it up to you is, you know, you've had, you know, a rich history of films for the last couple of years. How does it feel yet again to come so close but not actually win the Dewey?
You know my opinion on this, and you know that you know what you're doing right now, and you're a bad person for doing it. I'm fine with coming in second. Third, however, I'm fine with, you know, Paul. Andrew, you're backing me into a corner here, buddy. I'm just saying, during year one, we were not prepared. We were making films for each other. We were not prepared for the wives' vote. You know, we don't have the statistical evidence to prove whether or not it sways the outcome of the festival. Now, in my opinion, I think I should have come in second, and I think that Paul using Lael in his film probably swayed some of the opposite gender to. I'm editing all this out. I can't do this.
Oh, that's so sad.
I can't do this. I'm already pretty sure like none of the wives like me. I can't do it. I'm scared of women. I can't do this.
I think if you come down on the side of, you know, I think the women voted for the film because there was a kid in it, I don't think they will be upset.
All right.
I don't think that's like upsetting.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think you're fine.
But I think that Paul cornered the wife's vote, and I think that's how he got second, and I got bumped down to third. Now, that being said, after doing Paul's episode with him, I do like his film a lot more. You know, after like through a lot of it and hearing what it meant to him. I just think that maybe we should have a wives' favorite vote and put it way over there. Because when I'm doing a cardboard box, I am not thinking about, well, will Ellen Maddox like this? Like I'm just...
Well, I'll say if it helps at all, right? The voting, I forget the exact numbers, but I think it was first place had 11 votes, second place had 10 votes, and third place had 9 votes. That's only if one vote goes from first place to third place, it's a 3-way tie.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not like you were a distant third. It's literally like essentially like a 1 vote difference kept you from at minimum second, if not third. And at the end of the day, I mean, obviously Paul's film is great. It's in the top 10. You have an iconic film, right? Yeah. But then you also have, and Paul does as well. Paul's got an iconic film. You've got an iconic film. And, you also have this iconic moment as well that I don't know what.
Guess what? Paul's nephew likes my film, not his.
That's true.
Paul can suck it. Suck it, Paul. Suck it, Paul.
Paul might have the wives, but you have his family.
All right.
So who's the real winner?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I think that's all I've got. You're the podcasting expert. I think I hit everything. But is there anything I didn't cover? Any stories or Easter eggs you wanna mention?
I want to just give one more little special thanks to Matt. Just team captain. He helped me with some editing, as well as being a great actor, as well as being the filmographer. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Just filmographer?
I mean, like cinematographer, but I wouldn't really call anything we do cinematography. So,
and I mean, like, again, he was taking direction from an idiot in a cardboard box, and I would be like, "Can I see that?" And like, I'm basically, I was moving around like a Lego person. It was really rough. I do have. It's an Easter egg that never was, and it was for you, actually.
Oh.
Had an Easter egg that didn't make the final cut, and it was for you. I have 2 versions of this film. In that first, we're in the what'd you call it? The living room. What did you call that?
Oh, the stock footage living. Paul is watching a TV in a stock photo living room.
Yeah, in the stock photo living room, and there is that infomercial for snow globes. That was originally your phone number.
Lovely.
And like, I didn't want to put it on YouTube. I did not want to do that to you. Like, but I wanted it to play on the night of, just so I could get that reaction out of you. Like, no, you can't do that. What are you doing? But apparently that was going to be like way too much work on Josiah, and I'm obviously not going to do that to him. That would have been cool. And then special thanks to Levi for helping out with that little Unstoppable Force tag, and the Les Plombiers instrumental. So
lovely. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, I love this film. Like, I rewatched it a bunch of times. Legitimately is so fun. When I think of like what I thought Party Room might be when we started it, this is like exactly what I like sort of envisioned of like you tried to an extent, but when it got too hard, you were just like, yeah, it's not worth it. And that's fine. That's what makes it fun. I did go through that same thing, like, oh shoot, I know he's been doing Blender. Did he do a Blender film? And then it was like, oh no, he gave up. And that's fine. Like, that's really
no, I didn't give up.
Well, no, I mean, you didn't like, kind of, you get what I'm saying. Like right. Like we are not trying. I mean, we're like trying for quality, and there's nothing bad with quality. Obviously, quality can work. It worked for me. It's worked for Zach. It works for Paul. But there is a place for like, hey, at the end of the day, we're like 30-ish-year-old men making dumb films with our friends, and this is perfect, right? You got like almost every single person involved. Super fun. Love the film. So, hats off to you. Your film will be remembered for years to come.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Let's see what we can do next time.
Mitchell's Hot Takes! The chicken from Chick-fil-A is the worst thing on their menu.
Mitchell's Hot Takes! What will Sam put in his mouth?
Welcome to What Will Sam Put in His Mouth? Today we have a hammer or a hairdryer.
What will Sam put in his mouth? Find out after this.
So, Jacob, this year for Party Room Film Festival podcast, I've asked all the filmmakers to make a presentation. So, what do you have for your presentation today?
All right. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for reaching out to all of those directors and asking them to do that. That means a lot.
Absolutely.
I don't have too long of a presentation. I more just want to kind of float an idea out there, just put it out into the ether, just a little concept for everybody. Just want to propose something and put it on the front of everybody's minds. I'd like to start with a question for you. A little bit of trivia for you. Which Party Room director has submitted the most films? And I've even made it multiple choice for you. Which one is it?
I mean, my gut tells me Josiah because we said that recently, but that feels too easy. But I'm gonna go with Josiah.
Idiot! What a stupid moron! What a dumb idiot face! You stupid moronic idiot face! How could somebody be this dumb?
Sure. Can I get a second try?
No, in fairness, you don't have all the information yet. You don't have all the information yet. Another little, again, just kind of trivia for you. I promise this will all tie in together. What can you tell me about these films right here? Aside from the fact that a lot of these posters are really good, buddy.
Thank you. All these films are from year. Hold on 1 second. Let me finish my sentence. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's all the films from year 1.
Mm-hmm. You would say these are all of our first films, right?
Yes.
Okay. What film won this year? Just out of curiosity.
End of the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm. End of the Bloodline won, and that was Sam's first film. Well, today I would like to talk about the Maddox paradox. Okay.
Okay.
As we look right here, what do we see?
5 films that Sam submitted every year.
Would you say that these are all of Sam's films?
Originally, yes, but I am doubting myself as I say it.
Stupid idiot. Yeah. You idiot, dumb, stupid head, dummy face. Andrew, cast your mind back to his very first submission, Penalty Kick.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah.
Little bit of a lore dump for everybody.
Yeah.
June 16th of 2020, Sam says, "What's up, guys? Made this, before I thought there would be rules. I don't want to reshoot this, so I'm just going to share it here. Whatever. So that nobody has to go back, we'll run through this film, all right, beat by beat. There is Mitchell in front of a goal.
Yeah.
And then there's this jabroni. What's his name?
Yeah. Matt Harling.
Yep, there's that guy. And he's looking supposedly at Mitchell. And then there's Mitchell in front of the goal. And then we go back to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back to Mitchell. And then we go back to him. And that goes on for about 45 seconds.
Very Western feel.
And that's the music that goes with it as well.
Cool.
And then Harling scores a goal. The end. Get in, get out.
Mm-hmm. Simple concept film, that's for sure.
Very simple concept film. What I think sometimes when we describe Sam's year 1 film, End of the Bloodline, we say that it was ahead of its time. I would like to propose that that is absolutely correct. See, all of us were on our first film in year 1. So that's why we have a lot of, lower tier films. Films where we didn't know what Party Room was. Well, Sam had already gotten that practice film out of the way at year 1. So I'd like to propose that End of the Blood goes to year 2. Metal Weird Solid goes to year 3. End of the Bloodline everything shifts up a year, except for maybe End of the Bloodline 2 and Offsides, because if Cody was always going to write his film, then
Sure.
then maybe End of the Bloodline 2 does not exist and Offsides would always be year 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's look at this again. Now, out of these films, which film do you think would win?
Oh, I mean, I think I'm gonna reveal my personal bias here a little bit, but also, I'm an egomaniac, so I'm gonna go with Evil.
Evil would win Party Room 1 by a landslide. Now, I have kind of like, just tested the waters with this theory, with this little paradox, like what happens in that other universe?
Yeah.
What happens to Party Room if Andrew King wins a festival that he created on the first year?
Not an awesome look.
The resounding response was Party Room does bad. It's not good. I'm not going to reveal who said anything. Party Room stops existing. Andrew never goes to DC. Sam loses his job. Zach on the Couch is made year 2. Matt stops making special effects.
Wait, hold on.
Okay.
If Party Room Film Festival starts existing, does Zach just make Zach on the Couch for like funsies?
I think it's the quality goes down on year 2, and then we just don't do it year 3, maybe.
Oh, so okay, so we give it one more shot, but everyone's just kind of pissed I won.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Zach's parents sell the property. Vampire films become popular again. Nobody wants that.
Nobody
Nerd
wants
Hall
that.
gets renamed to Second Moose.
No, my legacy.
There is a silver lining. Josiah does end up becoming president, though.
Oh, okay. That would actually, but the negative to that is that would actually be a constitutional crisis because you have to be 35 years old to be president at minimum. So
no one
Josiah might be president, but at what cost?
I think the stress of you winning caused rapid aging in a lot of the group. So.
Sure. So everyone saw his gray hair and no one questioned.
Next up, the festival would have continued out of spite. Is another theory. Again, I asked multiple people.
Oh, this is a second theory.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a second multiverse.
Basically, the festival would have continued out of spite, but the gist is that everybody would have been so upset and angry that the films still wouldn't have been good. They just were like aimed at beating you.
Sure.
Zombies, larger zombies, smaller zombies, we defeat the zombies. And then Party Room films are only about the heroic tales of the zombie apocalypse. That is not who you think it is.
So wait, hold on. So Party Room would have continued out of spite, and then are we making movies about zombies, or the zombies are in real life, and then we make stories about us beating the zombies in real life?
So the next theory is basically saying if you win year 1, somehow Coriolis butterfly effect, the zombie apocalypse happens.
Sure.
And we eventually, as the band of brothers that we are, we do defeat the zombies, but Party Room films basically only become about the zombie apocalypse.
Tracking. Yep. Got it.
Okay. And now we're doing that. I don't know why.
Yeah. You're really re-emphasizing your first multiverse points here.
There we go.
There it is.
Oh
my gosh. Hold on. Let me get my binoculars out.
Hey,
here.
shut up.
Or my magnifying glass.
Shut up. He would have made more films along the lines of Evil, more gag and laugh focused. You would have repeat 1 by year 5. You wouldn't have moved to DC. The festival wouldn't be hosted at Zach's house. It would still be in Kentucky, where you were living. Because of the lack of political influence, your films would be more of a blend between Matt and Paul. big budget and really joke focused. I think you would not have wanted competition any sooner, so Aaron Levi and Landers would have entered way later.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And then there would be less PRFF content because it didn't expand as fast. So there's basically only the commercials and the films.
Okay.
Really, that's kind of all I have for you. I'm curious, what do you think would have happened if you had won year one? Which I am saying that you should have, because Sam cheated by submitting 2 films that year, getting his practice film out of the way.
Mhm.
Your practice film was Evil. So
Yeah. I mean, I think, man, yeah. So what's your question again? What do I think would have happened?
Yeah, if you had won Party Room 1, does Party Room Film Festival still exist?
Yeah. I would say it does exist, but I would essentially have burned any chance at winning ever again, because it would have been like, well, Andrew came up with this idea so he could win something. So now we all have to like never vote for him again, basically. So at that point, it would have like never mattered. And like the joke would be, we don't vote for Andrew, right? Because he cheated in the first one. And everyone would know that's not true, but they would know how much that would annoy me. And so they would never vote for me again, which would annoy me. And I would be upset about that. So I think it does go on. I think you raise up an interesting point. Maybe would all the films look more like Evil, like just everybody's film? Like would grotesque violence in films kind of be the theme? Because we really haven't seen that. And this is maybe being very loose of me saying that Evil has grotesque violence, right? Like it's very cartoony, but I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The only other film that's kind of violence-wise close to Evil would be like Unsightly Zombies, maybe. Is that kind of it?
He censors the vomit, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you are forgetting your second film, American Unsightly, which my theory says that, if we were in that universe, I think you still make American Unsightly on year 2 out of some type of like, look, I don't have to try anymore. I already beat all of you. So I think your films still come out the same way if you
and the Olympics still happen. So I still have that month, the 2-month window chopped down to 1. So yeah, I mean, I think, man, I mean, I haven't thought about this, but yeah, I guess I think it does go on, but it definitely isn't a good look to like start something and then win right away.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not saying that I don't have the authority to say that Sam does not get to submit a film year 6 because he has already submitted his 6th film. I don't have the authority to say that, so I won't say it. I don't have the authority to say that, Sam cheated on year 1 by submitting a practice film, getting it out of his system. Because, I mean, if we think about it, End of the Bloodline fits really well in with year 2. It's, so I don't have the authority to say these things, so I'm not going to. I would just like to introduce the Samuel Maddox paradox and just see what people think.
Here's maybe to play devil's advocate, right? I'd have to go back to the actual data based on this, but I believe when we did the voting, right, End of the Bloodline was pretty much the only film that got votes from year 1. I think maybe like Mitchell or Holly voted for Les Pièges, and I think Stice really likes Evil, so I think I think Matt would have voted for Evil, but maybe if Matt submits his soccer film year 1, there's absolutely nothing memorable from year 1. Like, let's say I won, right? But nothing is memorable from it. and it just kind of it dies anyway, not even out of anger at me winning something I created, but it just dies based off of like, well, this isn't really actually that funny.
I think you're being a little harsh on yourself. I really enjoy the four full minutes of you stabbing, or not you stabbing, but Zach and Jake stabbing each other. I enjoy that. The 40.
I mean, I do too. It always will have a soft spot in my heart. To play this out more, let's say so based on, can you go back to your like page of theories?
Yeah.
All right, so so in this theory, it's still year, we at least have one more year, right?
Depends on which theory you're going with.
I'm gonna go off the
like
top one.
This over here.
Yeah, the first one. Sorry, the left. So we're still, let's go year by year, right? So let's just shift it. So Sam goes, or End of the Bloodline rather, goes to year 2. In this first multiverse, do Aaron and Landers get invited?
I do not think so.
So if that's the case, then End of the Bloodline is now up for consideration to win in year 2.
Yeah, but Meaningless is there, and since Rotten Roommate isn't there, I think. So, are we saying that if Sam doesn't cheat? I mean, some people are saying it.
Sure,
Many people are really talking about this. Is what
I've heard them. Yeah, at least 2 people are talking about this.
Like it is the bird is the word.
It's out there. Yeah.
What we are saying is that, like, all right, so maybe I win year 2, right? All right. Whenever Jacob wins year 2, I think year 3, Aaron and Landers get invited because we need to actually have quality in the film festival.
But see, I would disagree with that premise because I would never invite somebody to the festival because I think they would make like high quality films. I would invite them because I think they would get the joke, right? Like Aaron and Landers and Levi are very good at making things, but they don't necessarily, like, this is not to say their films don't have quality, right? But this isn't like a cinematography focus. You know what I mean? Like Aaron, Landers, and Levi get the jokes. They make the jokes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I would push back a little bit on the you automatically beat Sam year 2.
Well, see, I'm not trying to take it away from him, but as we look at year 3, I believe Sam then, because at this point now, year 3, we have all of these silly films. Which, I mean, My Girlfriend Is a Screen there. That's going to be late anyway. Well, actually, is My Girlfriend a Screen? Like, is that there at all?
Is that late? Is it
like is
submitted
Levi
or is it submitted late? I think so Levi was in whose film was he in year 2? I should remember that. Oh, he was in Sweaty Games, right?
Yep.
So let's assume Paul, I think by year 3, I think it's safe to say, even in an extended multiverse scenario, Levi, Landers, and Aaron are invited by that point.
Okay. We just right? 3 of them year 3. Okay.
Because we're going to assume this doesn't change Paul in any way, which then infers Levi is an actor, which spurs shouldn't Levi, Aaron, and Landers get invited. So,
and I, of course, am still using Levi for Meaningless audio.
Correct.
Too.
Yeah.
But so what I am saying, like, all right, My Girlfriend Is a Screen, that's still going to be late. All right, Kill Happy, that's still going to be late on you.
Correct. Yeah.
So really, I think it comes down to a battle between Sam and Matt, Bargain Batman versus Metal Weird Solid.
For winner year 3?
Yeah.
Scroll down. What else do we got this year? I would maybe disagree with that a little bit. I think one of the difficulty is which photo verse film do you vote for?
Well, I'm going off of Bargain Batman 1, so therefore
I think that remains. I think in the multiverse, Bargain Batman still wins year 3. because I don't think Sam's. I really liked Metal Gear Solid, but it did not voting wise do all that well
No, okay.
at all. No,
I was
no.
gonna say, I thought it was close, but
No, to my knowledge, it wasn't. I mean, they're all close because there's only 20 of us, but it wasn't that close.
okay. And then we go to year 4. So now we have game night. I do not think Sam wins with game night. So we're saying if Sam does not cheat, again, that's what people are saying. It's not me.
Cheating,
Like,
yeah. Sam cheating, yeah. It's a shame
if
that people are saying the word Sam and cheating in the same sentence.
but we're saying if he does not submit a practice film and does not get into the bloodline out early, then
and does not cheat, as people are saying. Many people,
dude, people are talking about this.
Many people are saying Sam and cheating.
Many people are saying.
I think it would be a toss-up year 2. Maybe people can say which one they think would win. I like your film is overall better, but like it's one of those things like you just can't mess with. You can't beat. You don't have the balls to start a family with me. Like
That's
objectively, like as great as your effects are and the fight scene is, like that line, just I mean, it ended evil in the moment that line happened.
That's
Again, because Sam had the ability to workshop a second film because he submitted one already.
I mean, arguably, Party Room would hit its renaissance year 2, but which in some ways it did.
It did, yeah.
In our timeline, but arguably, like with End of the Bloodline hitting it at year 2, it might even like spur it even bigger. And so, who knows what films would have come year 3?
Mm-hmm. So
I probably still make How Not to Find Food in the Wild, in fairness, but
so are you saying if Evil wins year 1, is Party Room even better now?
Again, that's what people are saying.
Many people are saying that.
Like I'm I'm not really one to make big
Baseless
statements like
accusations.
Sam cheated year 1. I'm not one to say that, so I won't.
And it's really sad that people are saying Sam is cheating. Because to even say Sam and cheating in the same sentence isn't fair to Sam, who they're accusing of cheating. Yeah.
It's just crazy. But anyway, that's the Maddox paradox, and I was just curious people's thoughts on it.
Yeah. And I'd say if anyone else has any other thoughts on the Maddox paradox, make sure you post it in the comments, post your theories, like, subscribe, and be sure to share.
Tune in next time to find out
What was Sam put in his mouth?
So after seeing how well received the merch was this year, what other merch would you like to see?
Other merch I would like to see, I would really like to see, I think a Party Room cookbook would go crazy. Like let's have American Unsightly Burgers. Let's the city from How Not to Find Food in the Wild. The egg, Aaron makes a very nice egg dish in How to Find Food in the Wild.
Maybe some like homemade gummy bears or something.
Yeah. So I mean, like there's I think that would be like a fun little thing. But I'm very partial to my Party Room jersey as well.
Yeah,
so I'd love to see like a baseball one, a football one. Like let's just get a full thing out there.
I'd say some Gilbert the Green homemade pizza might be good.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
I'm putting way too much thought into this. Oh, obviously you need some evil lukewarm garlic bread.
Oh yeah. This is lukewarm at best. Like, fun
Classic line.
fact,
That line doesn't get enough credit. It should.
fun fact, like I wanted to do a cooking segment like for the podcast this year. I just did not have the time to do it.
What would that even look like?
But I mean, like, like I'm doing like the little bookends before and after, and so just like a little 2-minute, just like a little 2-minute. Today, we're making burgers with Andrew's blood.
Oh,
it would have been dumb, but where else are you getting content from, losers?
Sure. What party room Lego sets would you like to see?
I originally thought I had a good idea, but the truth is Tanner has had the best idea.
And remind me his, yeah.
It's the living room. Just having a living room of festival night. You have the couches, the projector. If I were to make it where the screen goes, it would actually just be a place to like slide your phone in. That way you could like just watch the videos.
Oh, dang. Yeah.
And like there are so many Easter eggs that you could put in that living room of like, you put a little Chuckles in there just to pay homage, respect.
To the OG.
Yeah. And of course you would just have minifigures of all of the directors. So
and the wives.
Yeah. So yeah, like it's hard to beat, but like I don't think you can beat that one. That's just so good.
That's a solid pick. Okay, so rate your years 1 through 5 overall, and I'm going to type them out here because I'm curious. So let me know which direction you're going.
In last place is gonna be Bullseye. In fourth place is gonna be Rex Moriendum. And then it gets difficult because people tell me that they're not being ironic when they tell me that How Not to Find Food in the Wild is their favorite film of mine.
Yeah, what's tough, if I can interject real quick, tough is the last 3 remaining films you have are all very different, but are all very high quality. Yeah. And it's almost like a personality test on which of the films you like. You could ask a filmmaker. Anyway.
I would probably say that How Not to Find Food in the Wild comes in third, just because of that like soft ending. A better director would have put an actual ending there. But for me, it was important to show that I also did not approve of what I made. And then it's a real toss-up between Meaningless and Unstoppable Force, but I think we're going to go Meaningless second and Unstoppable Force in first place, just because I got to work with more people there. I got to showcase a lot more skills there. So I think that'll stand the test of time for a little bit.
Which one are you more proud of?
I mean, see, again, that's like a weird thing. Like, there's so much more that went into Unstoppable Force than in Meaningless. But in Meaningless, it was like, I was so proud of it because it's like, yeah, guess what? Jacob came to play. I learned how to use Premiere, idiots. You're going to force me to be in this film festival while all of you went to film school? Screw you. I can do it too. Yeah. So like there is like a lot of pride in that film because it was kind of a like showing everybody else, but also showing myself that I can do it. But I don't know. I think I'm pretty proud of Unstoppable Force as well. I don't have an answer, I guess, is my answer.
No, that's fine. I mean, here's the question, right? Rate the years 1 through 5 overall, right? But I think it's basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's essentially a toss-up between year 5 and year 3, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I do think I'm going to put year 5 in first place.
Dang.
We'll go 5, 3, 2, 4, 1.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I think the data would have 2 and 4 swapped. So I think 2 would be in 4th place and 4 would be in 3rd place. But personal preference, yeah.
Year 2 is when we hit our renaissance, and I feel like 4 was a lull year. There was a dip, and people aren't strong enough to agree and admit it. But I don't know. 4 was kind of a lull year, but I also think that might just be because of my film. Like I feel bad about it because of my film.
This is a take that's going to go over the heads of most of the people. Well, maybe not most, but a decent amount of people in this group. I think it was Trevor who said year 4 is kind of like old school college football, where there's like 2 to 3 power programs that are like these are the best, and they just kind of bulldoze everyone, and then so it's like very top heavy and then really like bottom weak, basically. Where 2 was a much more, I think, even spread in filmmaking. Where 4, anyway, all that to say.
So
I
I stand
think
by that.
that's a solid take. I do respect that. Going for the 2 hot takes in one top 5. So the last question I have for you is, what's next for Paul Sigler films? However, I assume I should have changed that to Jacob McGlone films, and I didn't change. Yeah. So what's next for Jacob McGlone films?
I literally don't have any ideas going into next year. Just maybe we'll see more 3D animation, because my summers are not getting slower. If anything, we're getting more clients, and one of these years we might reach a year where the rules video comes out while I'm on the road, and I will be on the road until festival night. Unfortunately. So we're going to see more. We are probably going to see more creative ways to push the work onto other people, is probably what the future is for Jacob. Either that, or it's going to be very simple, shoot it in an hour type stuff.
Well, I mean, again, I've said this enough, but I'll say it again. I can think of I can think of very few more perfect party room films than Unstoppable Force. Truly loved it. Not just like making you feel good, really legitimately funny film. You nailed what the festival is about. You nailed the style, you nailed the like media change, you nailed it all. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I hope you continue. I hope you're proud of it, because it is legitimately funny. You created my favorite moment in party room history, and you should be super psyched. This film's going to be remembered for many years to come. Is there anything else I forgot? Any other final questions?
Hindsight 2020. Year 4 was our anime year, and year 5 is the year that I made an anime film, and that feels bad, but there we go.
Yeah. Well, I do want to thank you as well for inviting me on as a podcast host. I feel like I'm at least a top 10 podcast host in the festival.
Yeah.
And I hope to, maybe make top 7 someday. So
it's a small club, man.
It's a small club.
Welcome to the fold. All right. Welcome to the very tight-knit brotherhood.
It's super exclusive, where only over 50% of participants become a podcast host.
Yeah. There have been less podcast hosts than there have been Survivor winners, people in space, presidents. You know what I mean? Like, this is
that's true.
This is a real exclusive club.
But also, over 50% of possible hosts have become hosts. So it's simultaneously a high bar, but a low bar as well to clear. It's
that's the spirit of party room.
That's the beauty of it. That is the beauty of PRFF. So, Jacob, we just got one more thing to say. Just hanging out.
Hanging out with my family.